Welcome back, everybody, to episode 31 of the Washington Sports Podcast. We are your Washington Sports hosts,
Patrick Quinn,
Louis Ortiz,
and I'm Bobby Hanscom. Today is Monday, August 12th, as we're recording, so here's what we'll be talking about on today's show.
Week 1 of the NFL preseason is in the books. We will continue to do a breakdown of the AFC South today. We're going to get a breakdown of the AFC West and the AFC North.
I'll recap the final weekend of the Paris Olympics, where there were a ton of gold medals handed out, especially to Team USA and more. Also, we'll be discussing some few random headlines in the world of sports.
And we'll finish the episode with washed up wagers. We'll go over our picks from last episode, and we'll make our new picks for this week.
All right. The first week of the NFL preseason is in the books. That means we are closer to real football. To lead up to the NFL season, we'll preview one division every week. We've done 2 so far. We'll talk about all 4 teams in each division, key players such as quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and defense, and predict who will win the division, who will come in last. Last week, we went over both AFC West and AFC North. Today, we're diving into could be one of the most exciting divisions, in my opinion.
The youngest division in football.
Kind of a toss-up of who is that favorite number one. The AFC South, which is the Houston Texans, Tennessee Titans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Indianapolis Colts. Bobby is going to give you some recent history about the AFC South and how things went last year.
Alrighty, so last year the standings were Texans in first with a 10-7 record, the Jaguars, who choked their way out of a playoff spot with a 9-8 record, the Colts with a 9-8 record at third, and the last place team is the Tennessee Titans, who was 6-11. One of just 3 out of the 8 divisions, with 3 out of 4 teams over 500. Sorry, I couldn't read for a second. The Houston Texans won the division last year, being the only team from the AFC South to make the playoffs, as I just said.
I do want to say the Houston Texans only made the playoffs because they beat the Indianapolis Colts in that last game. If you guys do remember that, it was win or go home for each team, and Gardner Minshew had a chance to get that first down, and it was a bad pass, should have been caught, but it was dropped, and that's how the Houston Texans got their way into the playoffs.
And like I said, too, the Jacksonville Jaguars choking.
They went from the best team in the AFC to not even making
I believe
the
they
playoffs.
Started 5-1.
They were at one point they were like 10-3 or something like that. Or they were way up there.
9 wins. So.
They're like 7-3 or something like that. They're one of the best teams.
They were a 4 seed. The Texans were a 4 seed. They beat the Cleveland Browns in the wild card game 45-14, but they lost to the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round 34-10. The Texans have won 3 of the last 6 division titles, too. The Jaguars won the division in 2022 and also in 2017, which they were the only 2 times that they've won the AFC South. There have been 3 different division winners in the last 3 years, with the Tennessee Titans last winning in 2020 and 2021. The Colts have won the most AFC titles with 9, but they haven't won one in 10 years since 2014. They were also the last AFC South team to make it to the Super Bowl, with it being in 2009, and the last one to win a Super Bowl being 2006.
Real quick, Jaguars last year started 6-2.
Mm-hmm.
They were 8-3, so you were right, and then they lost 5 of their last 6.
Yeah, that's
choked. Big choke. Well, that was that Trevor Lawrence game where we all thought his season was done with the ankle, and he hobbled off, and then he came back in, or he played the next week, and he just never looked like himself at all.
No, not at all.
Let's start it off with none other than the AFC South champs, the Houston Texans. Obviously, last season, great rookie year by C.J. Stroud, leading them to the playoffs, winning Rookie of the Year. After going the year before 3-13-1, that's nuts. Win total over, under 9.5. They won 10 last year. What do you guys think?
Everything on paper says this team should be. I mean, we'll talk about all the additions they've made, but also the Tank Dell's healthy now. C.J. Stroud's got 1 more year under his belt. D'Amico Ryans has 1 more year under his belt. So all these guys, they should be a lot better than what they are. But there's just something that just tells me that they might have an off year. And it could be the Stephon Diggs curse that he comes to a team and he doesn't allow them to reach their full potential. But I think they might go under 10 wins this year.
Yeah, I think I probably agree with you on that. Like you just said, they have everything on paper that says that they should be, but it just depends on how well that they all can mesh together, which is obviously it could be a big problem.
But it's also we're going to talk about how well C.J. Stroud has done last year, but it's like what he did was never heard of before, ever, by a rookie. And now that was the expectation was there. Okay, he did it last year. Now it's going to go to here for him, which is like, is that even like plausible? Mm-hmm. So it's already putting so much expectations on this guy in his second year. It's almost like the Joe Burrow thing, like his rookie year he got hurt, then his second year they brought him to the Super Bowl, and now everybody's been like, oh, Joe Burrow is struggling, can't do this, can't do that. So it's gonna be interesting to see how well he can do, or if he has a mediocre year, they're saying, oh, he's fallen off.
Yeah.
Well, to go over what he did last season, he passed for over 4,000 yards and had 23 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions, completing 64% of his passes and had a 100.8 passer rating. It kind of looks like with this new addition, he could maybe it alleviates him a little bit in a sense of having so much talent at on his receiving end.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but also it's like the sophomore slump thing, where that's an actual serious thing, where they always come into their second year and they struggle in the second year. So we'll see how he kind of improves on that in this upcoming season.
Well, it's also to the point I made where it's like he's a rookie and he's seeing all these teams for the first time. They were seeing him for the first time too, So now these coaches have seen him what he did last year. The divisional teams, again, will see him 2 more times this year, so they'll be more comfortable with how C.J. Stroud likes to play and what the Texans want to do. So it'll be interesting. But it's all going to be a toss-up at the end of the day. I think this team goes as far as he takes them.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember this, Pat, but remember last year where I said C.J. Stroud should be the number one overall pick, and you were fighting me with it being Bryce Young. How do you feel about that now, bitch?
Listen. You telling me you think if C.J. Stroud went to the Carolina Panthers, he's had the same amount of success he had this year with Houston?
He would have more success than Bryce Young did. So
what? They'd win 2 more games?
That's still 2 more wins.
But it's all about the market and the team you go into. Like the Carolina Panthers have been this revolving dumpster fire ever since Cam Newton left the team. They went through Sam Darnold, Bryce Young, Andy Dalton. Like, it's just a revolving door of quarterbacks, and there's been they got rid of Christian McCaffrey, their best player. They just got rid of Brian Burns, another great player. After Steve Smith left, they have had nobody. So it's like, I don't think you put C.J. Stroud in that position, he's going to do immensely better than Bryce Young. And I think the same thing, you put Bryce Young into Houston's position with all the weapons that they had, it would still be a success. We would still be talking about, how good Bryce Young did and how C.J. Stroud did well, but the position he was in was not set up for his success.
I completely disagree. I don't think Bryce Young was in.
The question is, do you think Bryce Young would have won Rookie of the Year and taken the Texans to the playoffs?
No,
that's what I was going to say.
So I wasn't arguing with that. I think, but it's like we talk about the Mac Jones situation. Look at Mac Jones in his first year as a rookie when he had good offensive. When he had good offensive coordinators.
Charity Pro Bowl.
It's a Pro Bowl. Is a Pro Bowl.
But he had good offensive coordinators, and then you look. Okay, now we're going to bring in Matt Patricia to be our offensive coordinator, who's been a defensive coordinator his entire life. Yeah. Look what happened.
Yeah,
you could have all the skill in the world, but if you don't have the right pieces and the right people making the calls, you can't do much.
No, that's fair, and we'll see how Bryce Young does with
I think
with Dave Canales.
I think he'll do much better. But at the end of the day, it's still the Carolina Panthers are not a good football team.
No, that's fair.
Well, like we said, Carolina Panthers not a good football team, but on paper, the Houston Texans have a really good football team. I'd say Nico Collins breakout third season in Houston with 80 catches, over 1,200 yards receiving with 8 touchdowns. Rookie wide receiver Tank Dell.
I have a stat with the Nico Collins thing. First 2 years combined had 70 catches for around 900 yards. Where this last season, like you said, he broke out for 80 catches for almost 1,300 yards.
So when when what's his name?
When C.J. Stroud came in.
No, who's Derek Carr's brother?
David Carr.
When David Carr was throwing the ball to him, it makes it a little bit different.
David Carr
Davis
hasn't.
Mills.
Yeah, I was gonna
Davis
say David
Mills.
Carr hasn't thrown a snap in like 15 years.
No way. That's crazy.
I gotta look this up now.
All right, who else do the Texans have, Lewis?
Wide receiver Tank Dell had 709 yards, 7 touchdowns, just 11 games before missing the regular rest of the season with a fractured fibula. Made a huge offseason, obviously, with Stephon Diggs. Trading for Stephon Diggs from the Buffalo Bills. He had 1,000-yard receiving 6 straight seasons. Has 52 touchdown receptions during that span. They have Robert Woods, John Mechie III, Dalton Schultz at tight end. Do you guys think this might be one of the best receiving core? I know you guys aren't really sold because of Stroud, but what about the receivers here?
I'm 100% sold. Like Tank Dell is him. Like he is him, and it's C.J. Stroud's favorite guy to throw the ball to. Diggs is obviously an absolute dog. We'll see how he does, obviously. But Nico Collins also, like we said, he went off. And Dalton Schultz is a pretty damn good tight end. So, yeah, I think this is honestly probably one of the best in football. And Robert Woods has been through it. So he can obviously teach all the young guys like Tank Dell and Nico Collins all the shit that they need to know.
But coming with Stephon Diggs coming in, do you think that takes away from their mentality?
No.
In a sense?
No.
Because they'll take receptions.
I'll have to disagree with you on that, because if you look at Stephon Diggs anywhere he's gone, he needs the ball. He went Minnesota, wasn't happy because him and Adam Thielen were splitting time. They were both getting multiple catches. Wasn't doing crazy. Went to Buffalo, was getting annoyed. They wanted to run the ball more than pass the ball. Forced his way out of Buffalo publicly, made everybody know that Josh Allen didn't like him. He didn't like Josh Allen. That was a very bad breakup. Now he goes to the Texans, which out of the teams he's had, I think probably has the best weapons he's ever played with.
Yeah.
And so now, if he's not getting 10 to 12 catches or 15 looks a game, how quickly before does he start running his mouth and making it known that everybody, when is his brother going to start going on Twitter, get Stephon Diggs the ball more? When's his mom going to start saying things? You know what I mean? So it's like when you have already Tank Dell and Nico Collins off their two, Tank Dell obviously a rookie, but career year for him, Nico Collins career year for him, Dalton Schultz career year for him as well. He just got paid over the offseason. So there's a lot of mouths to feed in the kitchen, and there's only one football. So it's going to be, when's that? It's going to have to make, at some point, something's going to have to happen.
It's a fair point.
No.
They have another mouth to feed, too.
Yeah, and that was what we're going to get to right there as well.
Well, before we get into that, Diggs is over under touchdowns 6.5, and yards is 949.5. Tutties?
I think he'll hit that.
I think he'll hit the touchdowns. I don't think he hits the yards.
Because I think the beginning of the year, they're going to want to try and get him comfortable and happy, give him the rock a bunch, and then maybe towards the end of the year, they're like, okay, they're going to double stuff on. We can use the rest of our guys. But it's just going to be at the end of the year when they reach a little bit of adversity. Does Stephon Diggs show his true colors of being that drama queen brat that if he doesn't get his way, he lets everybody know about it, that there's an issue?
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking about another mouths to feed, they also signed Joe Mixon from the Bengals, who had over 1,400 scrimmage yards and 12 total touchdowns last year. Do you guys like the addition of Mixon?
Yeah, I mean, definitely better than Singletary. No offense, Pat. So it's definitely an upgrade there.
No.
Sorry, I had to throw the shade at you.
Better than Ramondre Stevenson.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's better than 95% of the NFL's running backs.
I don't know if I get that high, but
I would. Not there. Very many people I would take over Joe Mixon. Anyways, that being said, I don't forget about Dameon Pierce too. So if he goes down, they're going to still have a nice backup to have in him. Where last year for him, he came on. They said he was the guy. Gave him the ball. Didn't really work too well. C.J. Stroud ended up started doing dump-off passes and ended up being Devin Singletary. And Singletary ended up getting, I want to say he was on pace for 50 catches last year. And that's where Joe Mixon can actually still do both as well. Like Joe Mixon can come in here, he can catch the ball, he can obviously rush the ball. He's their guy in the goal line area too if they absolutely need it. I love Joe Mixon coming to Houston though.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that. I think the Joe Mixon addition was probably their biggest one in my opinion because they didn't need to go out and get a superstar wide receiver in my opinion. Their defense was already pretty good. We'll talk about the additions they made, but they had a very good defense, a young defense as well. But now that you have that consistent ability to run the ball in multiple different ways, inside, outside, and like Bill said, he can catch the ball out of the backfield, it's going to be very useful for them so they're not predictable and, we're going to pass. We'll just drop in his own coverage. Now you have to play on their toes. Are they going to run play action? Is it going to be more of a run the ball type game? So they're very flexible in what they need to do to win the game in that kind of scheme.
Does it complete them? Do they need anything else?
Experience?
Yeah.
I think Nico Collins and Tank Dell really, besides last year, never really postseason success, Rookie quarterback, all he's seen right now is the playoffs. Like when adversity hits, where's that experience? Where's that guy who's done it before, can be a leader in the locker room and shows you, okay, when something happens, this is how we deal with it. And we'll talk about on the defense, like there's a couple guys that are like that, but their two best players, in my opinions, are one was a rookie last year and one's been in the league for 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's that experience and understanding when shit hits the fan, this is how we recover. It's going to be the biggest thing for them. That'll just come over age and experience. And like CJ Stroud's still on this rookie contract, so they have money to spend, and this is the time they have to do it.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Well, let's flip it over to the defense now. Middle of the pack kind of defense, showed out, allowing 34 points to the Ravens in the divisional round. Allowed the 12th most points per game in the league with 19.6 and the 14th fewest yards per game with 330. They allowed the 10th most passing yards per game, 234, but had one of the better rushing defenses in the league by allowing the 6th fewest rushing yards per game at 96.6. They were also middle of the pack in sacks and interceptions as well. Do you guys want to get into some of the key defensive players?
Yeah, obviously, like Pat said, Will Anderson being the guy that has only played 1 year in the league, won Defensive Rookie of the Year. They were the first team ever, I believe, to have offensive and rookie defensive on the same side. Also helps having them being drafted second and third overall. Also, they just went out and got, like you said, experience with Daniil Hunter.
Yeah.
That's going to be absolutely huge for them, adding him in there. And then Derek Stingley, he's the other guy you were talking about, right? Yeah. So Derek Stingley, obviously, he had 5 picks last year. Let's see if he can end up staying healthy this year and see if he can continue having these crazy pick seasons where no one really has 5 in multiple years, really.
Yeah. I think the addition to Jimmy Ward was big, too, coming over from San Francisco and having that experience of playing in big postseason games, like we talked about, that experience you need. And then the addition of Azeez Al-Shaair from Tennessee.
I was thinking Giants. Who's the guy of the Giants that's names like that, too?
He wears the black face paint all the way down his face. I don't remember his name like that. But to add him, who had the fifth most tackles last year, it's going to be good for their linebacking core. But I think overall the defense got better on paper. I think they got a year more experience. And I think they will probably be a very, very good defense. And I think that's going to be their strong point, especially with DeMeco Ryans being a defensive coach, playing defense for San Francisco, being the D coordinator at then San Francisco, now coming to Houston, also played defense at Houston, was a Houston legend. So it's going to be exciting for them, and they're going to fly all around the field. And it's going to almost be like a Jet situation. We'll talk about the Jets when we get to there, but this team can score 17 to 24 points a game, and they should win every single game.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Head coach of the Texans is DeMeco Ryans, who led this massive turnaround and enters his second season in charge. So,
also, I said last year the Texans were going to win this division. and it happened.
Hey, clock's right twice a day, Bill.
I'm glad you used my saying.
In this sense, it was just once.
And it was also not a day; it was a year.
All right, let's move on now to the second place team of last year's AFC South Division, Jacksonville Jaguars. Went 9-8 the last two seasons. First time they had back-to-back winning seasons since 04-05. Before that, they went 3-13 during Trevor Lawrence's rookie year. They've only made the playoffs twice in the last 16 years, in 2017 and in 2022. Current win total right now is under 8.5. Kind of high?
Going under.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go under with that, too.
I would hammer that under, honestly.
There's nothing about the Jags that make me excited to watch them.
No, not at all.
You know, we'll get into their key additions and who they have on this team, but it's just like it's not an exciting team for me.
No,
the receiving core that they have right now doesn't blow you off the paper. They let a couple key wide receivers go in the offseason, brought in some mediocre ones that the teams were gladly let them go. And then the running back situation is all about health. You know, he's been in the league for 2 years now. One of them, he was out for the entire year. Had a good showing last year, but can he stay on the field?
He was not very efficient last year either, which is another thing that sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest stories was them signing Trevor Lawrence to a 5-year, $275 million contract, with tying Jordan Love and Joe Burrow being the highest paid QB in NFL history. He's thrown over 4,000 passing yards and 20 touchdowns while completing over 65% of his passes in each of the last two seasons, but did throw 14 interceptions and lost 7 fumbles. But yeah, let's pay him $55 million a year.
You guys know how I feel about that. I said it before, and I'll say it again. This was fucking terrible. I don't like Trevor Lawrence that much at all.
Tell me how you feel, you know? Is he worth it?
No,
It's
not
clear
at
to you
all,
it isn't.
dude. I said it on the pod when he got signed. I said, this is a terrible signing for them, and it's going to ruin this team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not all the way with Bill where it's like I fucking hate Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is a decent quarterback, and I'd say probably almost half the teams in the league would probably take him as their quarterback.
I would agree.
But for a team that you want to go deep into the postseason and you're paying a quarterback $55 million a year who's won one playoff game in the 4 or 5 years he's been with Jacksonville after the colossal dumpster fire that we could call last season, and then it's not even like he went off and had a great season and the rest of the team failed him.
Dude had 21 turnovers.
He had a terrible end to the season, and then he still gets paid $55 million a year for 5 years. The only thing I could say is maybe they looked at like the quarterback market, and they're like, if Trevor Lawrence goes off and does unbelievable this season, he might be now like a $62 to $63 million a year quarterback, and they get this done now. But it's like you're putting all this money in, and there's so many other gaps in this team that you need to fill on the offensive line, on the defense, even bringing in a better wide receiver. So it's going to be very interesting because now he went from, okay, he can be this, to, all right, now you're getting paid like Joe Burrow. Now you're getting paid like Jordan Love. Now you're getting paid like Tua. Now we need to see the production like that, or you're completely not worth the money, and it's that Daniel Jones conversation.
Yep.
But let's go over to the backfield. Travis Etienne Jr., who rushed over 1,000 yards in his first 2 seasons, had 11 rushing touchdowns last year and also 58 catches for 476 receiving yards. They also have Tank Bigsby at RB2. How do we think about the backfield?
Like I just said, Etienne was so inefficient last year. He had to get all these carries and all these touches just to get all these yards and shit. And Tank Bigsby, he was their number 2 back, but he sucked so much he couldn't even be on the field. Like, they had to just use Etienne all the goddamn time. Where if Bigsby plays different in his sophomore year and plays a little bit better, where they can give Etienne a little bit more of a break, maybe that'll change something.
3.8 yards a carry last year, down from 5.1 in his first season.
Yeah, so
Jesus.
right there,
Yeah.
proves it.
Especially you talking about the workload they had to do with Travis Etienne, and it was they drafted him because him and Trevor played in college together. They had that chemistry, and it's when we talk about the needing to identify the offensive line and make that better, they didn't do that. So now they're just going to be stuck with the same thing they did last year, and they're hoping maybe he gets there's more productivity out of him. But I just don't love the backfield that they have.
No, I agree. This isn't like the Texans' backfield where they have if one gets hurt, they have another guy.
Especially in the AFC South, where we already talked about the Texans identified, all right, well, let's go get a running back. We got Joe Mixon. We haven't even talked about who the Colts have at running back.
The Titans.
Or who the Titans got this offseason. So you look at that team, they probably have the worst running back room in the league.
Yeah.
Or in the division, excuse me.
I mean, they also don't have I would say, appealing receiving core as well. I mean, losing Calvin Ridley he wanted out. Didn't matter. Like, he wanted out.
It's crazy.
That's a 1,000-yard receiver just walking out the door.
Yeah.
But who'd they bring in? One of my favorite fantasy picks ever. Gabe Davis from the Buffalo Bills.
One day he's a hero, the next day he doesn't even exist. Yeah.
One day he's a hero, the next he's a zero.
Yeah.
He almost had 3,000 yards receiving, 27 touchdowns in 4 seasons. They also brought back. They also bring back wide receiver Christian Kirk, drafted wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, and have Evan Ingram at tight end, who had the 4th most catches in the league last year with 114 to go with 963 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Do you remember the stat I told you about Evan Ingram earlier? He is second all-time in receptions by tight end in a single season with last year with the 114.
Record's 115.
16. 116 by Zach Ertz.
Do you guys think the Jacksonville Jaguars have enough offensive weapons to be a playoff contender? All the money went to Trevor Lawrence.
Well, you also got Christian Kirk's making a shit ton of money too.
Yeah.
They gave him like a 5-year, $85 million contract a little while ago. It seems like.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how Brian Thomas Jr. will be. It just seems like LSU can produce unbelievable wide receivers. You go down the list of just the names: Jamar Chase, Odell, Jarvis Landry. Now you have Malik Nabers, Justin Jefferson. Now you have Brian Thomas Jr. So it's going to be very exciting to see him. And you have Trevor Lawrence, who, as much as we were talking poorly, he can still throw the ball, and he's a decent quarterback. So it'll be very interesting to see how he does. And then Evan Ingram, very good for the Jags, has a problem catching the ball, seems like.
Especially in the end zone.
Yeah, does not get you touchdowns, but will be able to get you yards and catch the ball, and then can somebody get to the end zone.
Christian Kirk, 4 years, $72 million through 2025, and he got a $20 million signing bonus.
Okay, so they're $92 million. So they're paying Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk about $400 million.
Yeah.
This is so fucking dumb. And out of any of the receivers they could have got, Gabe Davis?
Yeah, I mean,
the cardio king himself?
Hey, you wanted playoff experience.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Barely.
Hey, you had a 4-touchdown
playoff game against the Chiefs
championship game.
Yeah, and they still lost the game.
Wild. That's like a Gabe Davis curse, man.
Bro, you can't even be mad coming off.
No, I completely agree.
Let's flip over to their defense. Jaguars defense allowed the 12th most points per game, 21.4, the 11th most yards per game with 342, and the 7th most passing yards per game with 240 last season. The Russian defense was a strength, though, allowing the 9th fewest rushing yards per game at 103. Some notable players on their defense include defensive end Josh Hines-Allen,
who now has an official name change, so nobody thinks he's Josh Allen anymore. It's Josh Hines-Allen, for everybody that needs to know.
Hines. He had 17 and a half sacks last year.
Dog.
Defensive tackle Eric Armstead. Linebacker Devin Lloyd, and DBs Ronald Darby and Darnell Savage. Mm-hmm. How do we think about the Jags defense? Improved?
Definitely got better.
Got a little better, but Ronald Darby's old.
Yeah.
Darnell Savage hasn't done honestly anything
wasn't he
since
with
being in
the
the
Packers?
league. He was with the Packers and didn't do anything with them. The only good part that they have is their D line, honestly, in my opinion, with Josh Hines, Allen, and Eric Armstead. I mean, those two are some legit guys who go after the quarterback.
Are studs.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, there's really nobody that I really am blown away by.
And when we talk about the last team, like the Texans, where their defense will be able to hold teams to 17-20, and they won't need to outscore them. Where this might be the opposite, where like their defense can only do so much, and they might be letting up like 25 to 30 points a game, and now their offense needs to match that in order to be in the game and compete in the game, and especially with Trevor Lawrence and his turnovers so frequently, giving that short field position to people is not going to benefit them in the long run.
No, not at all.
They're coached by Doug Peterson, who enters his third season in charge of the Jags and won a Super Bowl, shitty Super Bowl, with the Philadelphia Eagles back in 2017-2018.
What do you mean? The Philly special? That's
The-
going
you
down
mean-
the Hall
you-
of Fame.
Illegal formation special.
The illegal formation Philly
They had
special.
more than 4 guys lined up off the line of scrimmage that should have been flagged and wasn't, and nobody talked about it.
That should have been the back-to-back-to-back.
It could have been.
Should have been
And
the first
Brady
one.
Should've
had
been.
500 yards in that game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that game was nuts.
Well, let's move on to last year's third-place team, Indianapolis Colts. Went 9-8 last year, like we said, but missed the playoffs and have not made the postseason since 2020. They were 4-12-1 2 seasons ago. Their win total for next year is 8.5. Too high, too low.
I'm going over.
I'm gonna go over, but not by a lot.
I'm
I was
saying like
a
9.
solid 9.
I'm like 9-10. Yeah,
I like the Colts this year.
we'll see how Anthony Richardson.
He's just
does.
got to be healthy.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
gotta be healthy. They gotta do what they need to do to protect him and keep him healthy. When he played, he looked exciting, but it's just when you have those big brute running back quarterback type situations where they're throwing their head everywhere, they're gonna get hurt. It's now just limiting to he has a strain, or he has a tear, or now he just hit his head, but no, now he has a concussion. So it's like the easing him in and making sure he realizes that he can be his worst enemy by going too hard in situations, not sliding, getting into these tackles and these hits. But if he stays healthy, the team is very, very good. The offensive line is always going to be good. The Colts always have a good offensive line. They're a good receiving core. And then the running back might be one of the best in the league.
yeah, no, absolutely, I agree.
I mean, he started off the season good, rushing some few touchdowns in, but then after missing the rest of the season with a shoulder injury, he also missed time with a concussion. Concussion, like you said.
I
just 4 games.
This is like a random ass stat. It's like it's a fantasy stat. Obviously, we're not talking fantasy, but like the first the 8 minutes that he played in like each one of these games, he averaged still like 18 fantasy points a game, which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Sorry, so go ahead.
No, good. But in the first 4 games, he had 577 passing yards, completing 60% of his passes, and was just responsible for 7 touchdowns to just 1 interception. So, like you said, he was playing well until those injuries happened. I would believe, I don't know about you guys, but he's built. He looks like he's built for the league.
Mm-hmm.
It sucked to see him just go out after week 4, but I mean, now you get a 100% Anthony Richardson. I'm excited to see him. I think he could be the future of Indy.
I do too. We'll see, because he came into the league with supposedly not being such an accurate quarterback, and then, like you said, he completed 60% of his passes in the first couple games. Obviously, he didn't stay healthy in all of them, but that's still pretty impressive for him. We'll see if he can kind of continue that when going into this upcoming season.
Yeah, I mean, that was going to be my biggest question mark. We've seen what he can do with his legs. He's explosive, very good on the scramble, even the design runs. It's the ability to complete the ball where it needs to be on time, especially with the receiving core that they have, which they just re-signed Michael Pittman, which was huge for them. Got a great wide receiver in the draft that we'll talk about, and I think they have a sneaky good wide receiver core that needs the ball in their hands, and he needs to be able to do a good job to get it to them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like, too, a big question mark would be their backfield with Jonathan Taylor being one of the best running backs in the league. But in the last few seasons, his numbers have declined, posting over 1,800 rushing yards and 18 touchdowns in 2021. Do you think he's past his prime, or do you think? I think it's a big injury.
He's been injured. He's been injured a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on. Like, we didn't say this, but I mean, he's the first superstar to wear the Guardian cap out in a game. So we'll see if that helps his head for his longevity. We'll see if he can stay healthy. I mean, I love Jonathan Taylor, especially with AR. Like, they're going to be an elite duo, and it's going to be fun to watch. Imagine, like, all those RPOs, him and JT, dude, just a little, see ya.
Well, I think one of the biggest things we forgot about was Jonathan Taylor at the beginning of the year wasn't playing. Because of the contract dispute. He wanted a brand new contract. And he was going to hold out, and then I could be wrong, but I don't know if AR and Jonathan Taylor even played a game together. Maybe it was one game.
I don't think
so. You got to take that where Jonathan Taylor was back, was hoping AR and him would be in the backfield, but it was Gardner Minshew for the entire season. So that also can completely screw up what he's doing, what the Colts are trying to do. So I think that where we got to give him a little bit more credit. Now this year, hopefully, it's a healthy, ready to go Anthony Richardson and a happy Jonathan Taylor with his new contract. So that can be if you're a Colts fan, that's a very happy sight to see. Yeah. And that can be a big difference from going to Gardner Minshew to Jonathan Taylor, or your Anthony Richardson and your star running backs not playing for the first couple of games.
I think they only played in one game together.
One game together. So that makes a huge difference at the end of the year, at the end of the day.
And if you don't remember, Zach Moss went off for them while he was gone.
Yeah.
So,
but who was the quarterback then?
The beginning was
Anthony Richardson. So it makes Gardner Minshew's now the quarterback. All right, let's load the box. We'll make it more difficult. Obviously, JT's in the back. We just talked about the RPOs. It's kind of like the Lamar Jackson situation. Gardner Minshew doesn't really scare you with his legs. Yeah. So you can't load. If you're going to load the box, you can load the box, but he can still throw the ball or he can get outside with it, and it makes it a big difference for defensives to scheme about.
Yep.
Let's kind of track back a little bit because you were talking about their receiving core, and but like you said, they just re-signed Michael Pittman Jr. He had 2,000-yard receiving seasons the last 3 years. They have Josh Downs, Alex Pierce, and rookie Adonai Mitchell from Texas. Are they enough receiving threats for AR and the Colts this season?
See, Pat says yes. I'm in question.
So you say no?
No, I'm not no, but I'm not yes.
Okay,
it's
a yes or no question.
Well, I'm in the middle.
This guy
this
guy's Switzerland right here, just sitting on the fence.
Get
on either side of the fence.
So here's my reasoning, right? So Michael Pittman, obviously, we know he's very good.
Yeah.
Josh Downs was very up and downs last year.
Nice.
Oh no!
Alec Pierce had the most yard or most times every time he was out there, he was, like I said with Gabe Davis, cardio king. He was legitimate cardio king. All he did was go out there and run routes and not get a ball passed to him. Adonai Mitchell, he isn't even on track right now. To people in camp, he's not even on track to be in the top 3 receivers on this team.
Well, he wouldn't be a top 2 or top 3 receiver. That's why you have a Josh Downs who's going to be in his second year with the quarterback that's finally going to play, with an Alec Pierce with a quarterback that's finally going to play. Like, we're talking about all this from last year. If you're a Colts fan, last year you had a quarterback who wasn't even supposed to be your quarterback, that you still almost made it to the playoffs with a winning record, and you only lost because of a drop pass at the end of the game.
But arguably a better passer than AR.
We don't know that.
That's why I said arguably.
We can't make that assumption. We saw AR in 4 games right out of college where we didn't even think AR played enough in college for most people. He had one really good year.
Didn't you say in the draft that they said he wasn't an accurate quarterback?
Yeah.
But throwing 60% of his passes?
That was
first 4 games?
Who knows? Like we said, anything
So who, when the first 4 games are okay, right?
Because, what I was saying was 60% completion. Obviously, it's 4 games. It's the sample size of only 4 games.
But
he could also go on and throw and have like a 45% completion percentage for the rest of the year and have a dog shit completion percentage.
But that's his wide receivers that only had him for 4 games as well.
But what did they do in those 4 games, though, too? Like, as well. Like, you know what I mean?
1 game he got a concussion, so he was out for half of it. And I think he missed another game. And then the week 4 he needed season-ending shoulder surgery.
I just want the game stats from him from Michael Pittman from last year.
With AR?
Yeah.
Well, the first few games, his receiving yards were up until Anthony Richardson was out, which was his last game was 10-8 against the Titans, I believe.
Yeah.
He had first game 97 yards, 8 catches, and a touchdown. Then he had 8 catches, 56 yards, 9 catches, 77 yards, 1 catch, 15 yards, and then 5 catches, also 15 yards. Or I'm sorry, 1 catch, 15 yards, and 5 catches, 52 yards. So only 1 touchdown in 5 games.
Not over 100.
But 10, 18, 26, 31 catches in 5 games.
But not over 100 yards.
And then the first game without Anthony Richardson, 9 catches, 109 yards, 0 touchdowns.
Hence what I'm saying.
But you're not.
But a backup
Because
QB
it was-
will always go for the number one game offer of game one.
A backup.
But why wouldn't the number one, their number one overall pick quarterback not go to the best receiver?
Because he was doing it with his legs, and he was able to get outside the pocket. What we just talked about, he had 4 touchdowns in the first 4 games he played rushing the ball.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying his passing. I'm saying he's passing. Is this receiving core going to be? The question was, is this receiving core enough threats for Anthony?
Yes,
Richardson?
it is, because you don't need 12 guys when you have that ability to run the ball both with your running back and your quarterback.
I would have to agree.
It's like the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, but
he's a scrambler.
I understand.
You're telling
that, but
when we talk about the Baltimore Ravens, they only have one guy.
who?
Zay Flowers.
Mark Andrews not an option. Isaiah Likely's not an option.
Receiving core, more wide receivers.
They not a receiver.
Tight end,
Are
wide
they-
receiver.
But do they catch passes? Do
Yes.
they go up for most
But they
routes?
also block.
So do receivers.
But there's 4 guys here that can do a good job. They don't need to be putting up these crazy
I think
numbers.
these guys are good.
You love Josh Downs, dude.
Last year I did, and then I started falling off towards the end of the year. Alec Pierce, like I just said, he doesn't catch passes.
Adonai Mitchell is good, though.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, we'll see how he does. But right now,
you're too big. Personally, you're too big on training camp. Like, for me as a former athlete, I could give 2 fucks about practice. I only care about strapping up my shit and playing in the game.
but we don't know about that shit if you're not doing it with the ones in practice. You know what I'm saying?
But
That's
some ones don't even practice.
But as Lewis said last week, you're not gonna I believe somebody's defense. You're not gonna know how they do until the first week of the first game of the season.
no, it's fair.
It's like there's so many guys right now in the league that are holding out and not even practicing, but they'll go in week 1 and they'll be absolutely fine.
Right.
I understand rookies. Yeah, rookies need to be there. But you look, Hassan Reddick, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams. None of these guys are practicing because they want new contracts or they want better things. CeeDee Lamb not practicing. You're telling me week 1 you think they're going to struggle? Week 2 they're going to struggle? They're not going to be up to their caliber because they haven't played enough in the preseason?
The practice, all I'm saying is the practices matter, and the reps with the certain quarterbacks matter. That's all I'm saying.
And they're getting that right now. This is the first time they're getting that in a full offseason because he came in drafted and then have to do everything there without a healthy Jonathan Taylor who did not want to play.
Go ahead, Luke.
Well, with a healthy AR, healthy Jonathan Taylor, I'm convinced of this offensive team that Indianapolis is putting ahead. Some of us aren't, as we know, but let's flip over to the defense, which is, I would say, a big, big struggle for the Indianapolis Colts, especially last year. Allowed the 3rd most points per game at 23.8, the 9th most yards per game at 350. They did have the 5th most sacks in the league with a total of 51. They do have a lot of talent on their defense. They have some great defensive players. Kwity Paye, DeForest Buckner on the defensive line. They did lose Samson Ebukam from the season in training camp. Their secondary is very young also. Do you think the Colts will struggle like they did? Do you think the offense is kind of trying to overcompensate for their defensive struggles?
They'll struggle, but I don't know if they'll struggle as much as they did last year. Like we said, their secondary is young, but that's, again, a year of experience, a year of understanding. And as much as, we talk about the offense going through, the drama they went through affects the defense 100%. It affects the entire organization. So when you can have, from start to finish, an entire team that's all on the same kind of click and they're all on the same message and they all are going for the same thing means a big difference. I don't think their defense is going to be outstanding. It's not going to be something where you can rely on their defense to win a game, but I think it will be better than what it was last year.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like you said, their D line is pretty good. So if their O line can go and bring pressure on the quarterbacks, then that's definitely
Their D-line.
sorry. Their D line, if their D line can bring pressure on the quarterback, it's definitely going to help the young secondary. So we'll see how that comes.
Well, the head coach of the Colts is Shane Steichen, who enters his second season in charge.
Wow. When I was making this script, I didn't think the biggest debate would be about the Indianapolis Colts receiving crew.
Wow, dude.
That was pretty intense.
I don't know, man. Bill was just like,
I loved it, bro.
I
I
know,
know they were about
right?
to go at it. Like, actually,
Bill just wasn't listening. He was
You weren't
he was
listening
thought in his
either.
ways, man.
I contradicted Bobby.
All I was saying was like they had
Went
to
in
play
for
with
it,
them
so-
in practice, and if Adam and I's playing with the second team, he's not getting the reps with AR.
That's one of the. That's their rookie that's
Still
still going to go form
No.
depth chart.
No, we're just talking. We're not arguing. We're just talking.
It's not like a Malik Neighbors situation where he was going in. He needs to
Lewis,
do the one.
I'm ready to hear about the Tennessee
I like
Titans.
it, dude. This is
I-
good
Yes,
content.
it is.
What did
One
you say?
of
They're
the-
over under? Yeah, you did 9. Sorry.
And I said
Sorry, go ahead.
over.
My apologies. Go
I
ahead.
think we all said over.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bro, you want to talk about a hammer? Listen to this now.
I know.
Come on.
I'm
All right.
all in.
Finishing up with the AFC South, Tennessee Titans. They were only 6-11 last year and have not made the playoffs since 2021. That miraculous run that they made it to the AFC Championship.
Being the
Um,
fucking Pats.
with Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah. From 2016 to 2021, they had 6 straight winning seasons and 4 playoff appearances. Their win total right now is over under 6.5.
Yeah.
That is actually the biggest lock, hammer, everything.
Plus 425 to make the playoffs. The Titans.
Hey, you remember what I said?
I remember.
Tennessee Titans are winning the division.
It looks pretty damn good.
They haven't stepped foot on the
I
field.
know, but I'm saying with the betting odds and everything, with Pat, what they're saying, it looks pretty good.
Bobby's reading Vegas right now.
No, Zach actually read it.
Hold on, can I just double check this real quick on their win total?
Yeah.
Of course.
They are 6.5 is plus 110 over for the over.
Give me that over, dude. Any day of the week.
No, yeah, I like what the Titans did a lot this offseason.
You guys agree on that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Titans look good moving forward here with Will Levis as their starting QB. As a rookie last year, Levis had 2,000 passing yards and 8 touchdowns in just 9 games. Will he be the guy all season, or will we see some Malik Willis or Mason Rudolph?
Come on.
No.
I'm going with La Familia. I'm staying with Kentucky alum Will Levis.
Here's the thing. If Will Levis shits the bed, they got nobody fucking else. I'm
No,
sorry. You're not
dude.
putting Malik Neighbors or Mason Rudolph
Malik
in
Neighbors?
or Malik Willis.
Malik Willis couldn't even do it his first 2 years.
So it's
Development.
it's gonna be you're really if you're the
Mason Rudolph?
if you're the Titans
Veteran presence.
if you're the Titans, you're kind of throwing all your eggs into the basket right now with Will Levis because you don't have you don't have the necessary veteran backup that you need. Like, you can say, oh, yeah, Mason Rudolph's a veteran, but, like, the biggest thing you know about Mason Rudolph was he said a slur to Myles Garrett and then got hit in the head by a helmet, okay? That's all you know about fucking
And then
Mason
he was seeing
Rudolph.
stars.
Yes. And then you have Malik Willis, who played at Liberty and was just this unbelievable athlete. Everybody thought he was going to be real
Projected
good.
first round, ended up going in the 3rd.
And then it just hasn't done anything. So it's the Will Levis show. It's all in with him. Maybe he can make another sex tape and he'll get his better publicity. But it's the Will Levis show for this season. It has to be.
And I will say, Will Levis also had some great-ass games last year. Like I said a couple days ago, Like his very first game, having the 4 touchdown.
No,
game.
he's exciting. He's very exciting.
Yeah, and he'll be fun to watch.
He's a very exciting QB, I would have to say.
He'll have to limit the turnovers, obviously, which comes with experience as any quarterback. But he can make any throw you need. He's a tough guy too. He doesn't back down. There were a couple situations last year. I think even the Titans had to beat the Jags in the last game of the year to kick the Jags out of the playoffs, and they did that. So he's definitely got that toughness to him. He's a very athletic.
He's got the cojones.
He can throw the ball. I mean, everyone's seen his cojones, so he's got that in him.
And Tennessee Titans are really buying into Will Levis, but also they're bringing him a lot of help too, some weapons after Derrick Henry leaving. Bringing in Tony Pollard from Dallas after having 2 straight 1,000-yard rushing seasons with the Cowboys and 18 total touchdowns. I like this addition. I don't know about you guys, but I really. What do you guys think about the Tony Pollard coming?
I love it.
I'm excited about it.
Whoa, 2 agreements on the same team, guys.
It's the Titans.
Also, though, don't forget about Tajay Spears. This 1-2 duo in the backfield is going to be fun to watch. Obviously, Tajay's a little more on the smaller side as well, but he's a very good receiving back, and obviously so is Tony Pollard. So I feel like this is going to be more of a split carry backfield like it was when he was back in Dallas with Zeke. So it might be actually a very good thing for him to be going to Tennessee.
Yeah, and I think when you have Derrick Henry as your running back, when you have Derrick Henry as your running back, it's tough for your quarterback to really get any kind of momentum throwing the ball because you know the ball's going and Derrick Henry in the backfield is going to run down your throat. No pun intended, but that's just how it goes with that kind of running back. So when you have an explosive quarterback who can make any throw like Will Levis, you need that kind of agile running back who you can drop a screen down to or can run a route that can make a catch, and that's exactly what Tony Pollard is. And say Will Levis isn't having a great game, you get a couple checkdowns, to Tony Pollard. It could really improve his confidence, and I think it's going to be a good pairing for them.
Also, sadly, as a Pats fan saying this, but they also got Calvin Ridley from the Jaguars.
Don't forget, not just Calvin Ridley didn't want to go to the Pats and went to the Titans. So did DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Double whammy there.
Yeah. Calvin Ridley will now pair up with star wideout D-Hop. They also added Tyler Boyd and still have Treylon Burks and Chigoziem Okonkwo.
Just call him Chigakonkwo.
Yeah.
Chigoziem Okonkwo at tight end.
You know who that is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 85.
Yeah. D-Hop right now is hurt. He's going to miss the first month of this next month. So we'll see how that affects him and Will Levis.
He'll be back for week
Once again,
2.
Bill.
I'm just saying it's
You're
just
right.
we'll see.
You're right, but he's fucking D-Hop.
Yeah, I
gonna
understand.
say,
But he's also
he's gonna catch anything.
he's also 34 now. He's getting up there in
Is
age.
he that old?
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you. Also, like you said, they brought in Tyler Boyd, and they have Treylon Burks coming into year 3. We'll see how Treylon Burks, if he can come back alive. 32.
D-Hop.
But it's still pretty old for a star receiver.
But I think with the additions of Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd, it takes the pressure off of D-Hop. You don't need D-Hop to be his Houston Texans or early Arizona Cardinals. You can have now D-Hop go out and have those spectacular games, but also, all right, we don't need it every single week. We have these 2 other guys that we brought in that are still young, in their prime, that are really, really good. And, we have Tony Pollard that on any given day can just light a match and go crazy.
Yeah, I'm also fucking extremely sold on Calvin Ridley this year. I think he's going to be fucking sick. Him with Will Levis is going to be a great thing.
Yeah, if you're a Titans fan and you're looking at what they did, you've got to be excited
for this season.
Bro, Tyler Boyd was a sneaky good addition.
I love Tyler.
Yeah.
He was with Cincinnati.
This is his last couple years with Cincinnati. 67 catches, 667 yards.
That was last year?
Yep. 58 catches the year before, 762, 5 touchdowns. And the year before that, 67, 828, 5 touchdowns. So
He's
with Higgins and Chase,
he's probably the best
Yeah.
3 in the league.
Yeah. He's a guy that's already used to playing with 2 studs ahead of him.
Yeah.
So
It's a perfect addition for him.
agreed.
Titans offense will be scary next year. Let's go over to the defense. Kind of middle of the pack from last year in points per game allowed, 20.4. Yards per game, 335. And sacks, 45. They were dead last in interceptions with just 6.
Hence why they got this guy.
Well, they did L'Jarius Sneed and Jamal Adams to bolster their secondary. Will that help their secondary out? Will that help the defense out?
Sneed is one of the best corners in the league, and they just said, "Hey, Kansas City, let me have him. Let me have him."
I mean, Kansas City didn't want to pay him.
Yeah.
So.
Which is very dumb, but I mean, I get it. They're paying a fuck ton with Kelsey and Mahomes, but still, I mean, L'Jarius Sneed and Jamal Adams missed all of last year, but I still think like him going there, him being that hard hitter, but him being the hard hitter that he is, it's going to be very electric for their defense.
No, it's very exciting. They got a good defensive line with Simmons, who's just an absolute wrecker. You have to put 2 on him. Sometimes that's not even enough. And then you get 2 proven veterans in Jamal Adams and L'Jarius Sneed. It's exactly what you need, and that's a team where we talk about the offense being exciting. Their defense will also be exciting. Smash mouth on you at all times. So the Tennessee Titans definitely won the offseason, but it's a lot different doing it in the offseason, and then when week 1 comes, can you put it on the field?
The Titans head coach, they actually just hired Brian Callahan as their new head coach for the season after firing Mike Vrabel, who's now an assistant coach for the Cleveland Browns.
Running sprints with Jameis Winston at practice.
Callahan was an offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals the last 5 years. Well, boys, we gone over the teams, went through every single key player, their offense, defense, their additions. Who do you guys have for your ranking in the AFC South for this year, 1 through 4? Bobby, let's start with you.
I'll go first. Titans at number 1. Texans at number 2. Colts at 3. Jags are finishing in last place in this division.
I have Colts at 1, Texans at 2, Titans at 3, Jags at 4.
Wow.
I don't like the Jags this year.
I don't either.
I have Texans at 1, Titans at 2, Colts at 3, Jags at 4.
So is that 3 different
Top 3.
Winners.
3 different ones,
Texans.
All same last.
and I had
I
Titans
had,
and
I had
Colts.
the Colts.
Wow. That's awesome. I guess I'll take the Jaguars.
Right before we finish it off here, over under 1.5 teams making the playoffs out of this division.
No.
I said
Over
I
under.
said
Over
this.
under.
He goes, no. I
Just
think just one.
Under
honestly.
1.5. There's too many good teams everywhere else.
Yeah.
Like you guys talked about the AFC North last podcast. There's 3 teams that could make the division. 3 teams that can make the playoffs in that division.
I
Honestly,
think we all said only 2 making that.
I think we all said under 2.5. Because I asked them under 2.5, over under.
And then
Last year they had 3.
you got to think about the AFC East that we haven't talked about yet. We're talking about the AFC South now.
Patriots 1%.
And then, so I think those 2 divisions will have at least 2, and then it's going to be like the crapshoot of like an 11-5 or a 10 or 11-6 team making that wild card spot, which is going to be better record than probably almost every team in this division.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough.
yeah, I agree. All right, so we've now done previews for the AFC West, North, and South. On Friday, we'll finish up the AFC doing the AFC East.
Obviously,
All right, so yesterday was the final ceremony for the 2024 Summer Olympics over in Paris. The final medal count, obviously, United States led the medal count with 126, 40 gold, 44 silver, 42 bronze. It was their second most total medals since 1908, almost 100 years ago. China came in second, but tying the U.S. in total gold medals with 40. They had 27 silvers, 24 bronze, with a total of 91 medals. Great Britain and France both had 64. Great Britain came away with 14 gold, 22 silver, 29 bronze, as France went home with 16 gold, 26 silver, 22 bronze.
You want to know something that's funny? India, as the second largest population, 0 golds, 3 silvers, 2 bronze.
Wow.
5 total medals.
That's about to increase, though, at the next Olympics.
Yeah,
when we
talk
later.
about what's going to get added. I also hate, we talked about, I think there was maybe 10 of China's golds, 5 were in ping pong,
8 diving.
8 diving,
Yeah.
and then 3 in shooting.
Yeah.
It's fuck off. China's the
If you-
only fucking country that
And you
does
look at ours,
this.
and it's all running.
If you looked at
Running-
if you looked
Running,
at the
swimming,
last,
gymnastics, basketball,
Yeah.
soccer, cycling,
Mhm.
whatever the rowing. We got a large variety over there. Just track. Wow.
who won
This guy.
breakdancing?
France, I believe.
Who won breakdancing?
The women's
Japan.
is Japan. The men's, Canada beat France in the
Oh,
final.
Canada.
USA had a guy get bronze
Wow.
in the men's.
You mean the Australian woman didn't place after fat
got
zero?
I
She
think
got.
I could have done what she did.
Dude, that she was
She
pulling out some
convinced
gnarly-
Australia.
Can we
like
make that the punishment for you? If you lose this month, you have to do a breakdancing routine for
for the pod.
Sure.
Oh!
For it.
All right.
So-
All right. I guess that's the punishment now.
well, that's
Break-
only for me if I lose.
No, that was
No,
for
that's
everybody.
right. That's
Oh
everybody.
no, I said for Bob.
whoa!
He
We're
did,
kinda
he
at
did
a-
say for me.
We're kind of out of tune right now. I feel like we should vote on this now.
All in favor and aye?
Aye.
Of everybody do it if they lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Break
right.
that.
Well, I don't have to vote because you guys just beat me. So that's the punishment for this month, I guess.
Oh boy.
Well, let's. I'll go over some updates of the things that happened over the weekend in track and field. USA Track and Field at 2024 Olympics, a total of 11 gold medals out of the 25 track events. 34 medals in all, most by USA since 1984. 9 individual events with multiple USA medalists. USA men's 4x400 relay won gold. USA's 16-year-old Quincy Wilson became the youngest American to win a gold medal in track. He ran in the preliminary race, but not in the final.
Did you see? He put something on social media.
Yeah, he said I got at school in 2 weeks.
He was holding the gold medal, and he's like, "Damn, I really got school in 2 weeks right now." Yeah, imagine being 16 and you're just, "Oh yeah, I'm going to Paris to go run in the 4x100 with the top athletes in the world." And
He deserves
I'm only
the principal
16, and my
spot.
body hasn't fully developed yet. I'm not even close to where I'm going to be, and he's already winning gold medals now.
USA women's 4x400 relay also won gold. That was that was insane. McLaughlin
That was
LeBron,
nuts.
second gold, and Gabby Thomas, third gold at these games. New American record, 3 minutes, 15
There
seconds.
wasn't even anybody in the same shot
No.
as them.
No.
When you watch that, whoever the last one that was running, I think it was Gabby Thomas was the last one in the.
Yeah, I
four.
think you're right.
She could have walked.
She was the
in.
third one.
She was the third one.
There was another one.
Sydney McLaughlin was the second, but coming off that first heat, they were so neck and neck, and then
And then
Sydney
came.
grabbed it, and that was when
gone.
the space
Yeah,
happened.
and
It was actually
it wasn't even
one of-
they had to zoom out the camera
Yeah.
and try and fit in everybody
Exactly.
else. It was crazy.
USA Shelby McEwen got silver in high jump after a jump off with New Zealand.
With New Zealand.
It's
Who's-
the guy's
who-
name is like
Oh my god!
Um,
I don't know if you saw that.
Kerr.
dude.
Kerr or something.
Hamish.
Hamish Kerr.
Hamish
Yes, thank you.
Because I remember
Thank you.
Lewis
Yeah.
and I were watching it, and he
Yeah.
fucking
No.
He fell,
he,
right?
No, he
Yeah.
went to go do it. He just said,
He just he went in between.
It went
He
right-
didn't-
yeah,
he
he,
under.
That was the one that sent it to the jump off.
Yeah.
He had a
Yeah.
chance to win it right there.
Yeah.
And then they both tied.
Pussy.
And then McEwen was like,
Just fucking go
I don't
for
want
it, man.
I don't want both of us have gold. Let's do a jump off. Only one winner. Like he was the one that
Really? And he
Yeah.
lost?
you didn't see that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, because
Well,
Hamish came over and he was like, "I think we should just call it,"
'Cause in the
because
la-
they didn't hit it.
the
They had to
last
lower
Olympics-
it 2
I saw
inches.
that. Yeah, I saw that.
The last Olympics they had 2 gold medal winners.
Yeah, one from Italy and one from Qatar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was the same scenario, but the USA guy didn't want it and he lost. So
Wow.
Damn, that cost us a gold medal. We could have actually won.
Yeah,
We could have actually won the medal.
We could have.
Wow.
China.
That's crazy,
but
dude.
instead we get a draw
he
with
had
China.
it. He had
Yeah.
the gold medal and
Yeah.
said, "I want to win it myself."
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Beggars can't be choosers.
True. USA's Messiah Russell got gold in the women's 100-meter hurdles. Let's move over to some water polo.
Wait, real quick, I have one more thing to add for
Mhm.
track. So USA, I mentioned this guy before, Grant Fisher. He won bronze at the 10,000 meter, like the first weekend.
Mm-hmm.
This past weekend, he won bronze in the 5,000 meter. So first American man to medal in both 5,000 and 10,000 in the Olympics.
Wow.
And it was like 5,000 is, I believe, a 5K, so 3 and change.
Mm-hmm.
And he ran it in about 13 minutes.
That's crazy.
So it's almost 4-minute mile
That's
pace.
insane, bro.
That's honestly that's crazy. That's so much running, man.
4 minutes and 33 seconds.
You could have ran back to the US.
And while we're talking about 10,000 and 5,000, the Netherlands had a woman, Sifan Hassan. She won the women's marathon. She broke the Olympic record, ran it in 2 hours, 22 minutes. And she also got bronze in the 5,000 and 10,000.
Wow.
So she ran 5,000, 10,000 marathon in the same Olympics.
That's insane,
Yeah.
bro.
Wow.
My body would break.
Yeah.
That's
Mine's
crazy.
broken just thinking about it.
That's like David Goggins-esque.
Yeah.
Almost. Let's move over to some water polo. Sorry, Zach, but the USA women's lost the bronze medal match against the Netherlands 11-10 with 0.7, is that what it was?
Yeah.
0.7 seconds left in the game. First time not medaling since water polo became an Olympic sport back in 2000. Had previously won 3 straight gold
They had a
medals.
heartbreaker before, too. Didn't they play against, was it New Zealand or
Australia.
Australia? And they lost in like a shootout or something like that?
6'5".
Yeah.
USA men's water polo won the bronze medal against Hungary, 11-8. First medal in men's water polo since 2008. The United States women's national soccer team won gold, 1-0 over Brazil. Mallory Swanson scored the game-winning goal, only goal. It was, first time since 2012 since they won the gold medal.
Yeah. Used to be Mallory Pugh, but now Mallory Swanson.
Not to be confused with Sophia Smith.
Other news, let's go over to some volleyball. Sadly, USA were swept 3-0. I'm sorry, Zach, again. USA were swept 3-0 to Italy in the gold medal match. Basketball, men's and women's both beat France in the gold medal games. The men's game, it was their 5th straight gold and 18th overall. Women's, their 8th straight gold medal.
Did you see something where it was, there's been 3 other teams besides the U.S. for the men's side that have won the gold medal? 2 of them are countries that don't exist anymore. And one's Argentina.
Yeah.
One's the Soviet Union, and then one was like all of those Eastern European countries.
The
unified team?
No, it was like it was back like when all of them were
Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia. Yeah, it was.
Dude, imagine that. Hold on, imagine that Yugoslavian team
It
now.
would be Jokic, Luka Doncic.
Jokic, Luka, Bojan, Chris Stapps, probably. Yeah, Chris Stapps.
Yeah.
That'd be nuts.
That team was be fucking unreal.
Yeah, but there's only been those. So Argentina really is the only other actual country that has won a gold medal.
I'm surprised, honestly, Spain never did. Very surprised.
I mean, they got back when it was like the redeemed team and the golden generation of the U.S. basketball. They always played against it was always U.S. Spain in those finals with the Gasol brothers, Ricky Rubio, and then the U.S. was just too much for them.
I mean, now, sadly, we have to wait another 4 years now for this Olympics.
Can I say one thing for the basketball?
Yeah.
Do you guys don't want to talk about basketball at all?
About the game?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be down to talk about the game.
If you want. I didn't put anything. I ran out of time.
Okay.
But I just want to read a couple things. For the women, 61 straight Olympic wins.
Yeah.
78-3 overall record
In their entire time
in
in
the
the
entire
Olympics.
Olympic history. Diane Taurasi got her 6th gold medal, which is the most in history. Then we have, hold on. USA men's 5 straight gold medals, obviously.
Kevin Durant having the most. Gold
LeBron
medals.
James got MVP. The first team
Is
was
that like a new thing?
I don't know.
I don't ever remember.
Probably like tournament MVP.
The first
It was,
team,
yeah.
All-Star 5, they called it. LeBron, Steph Curry, Victor Wembanyama, Dennis Schroeder, Jokic. The second team was Victor Wembanyama also got Rising Star of the tournament. And the second team was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Franz Wagner, Giannis, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and Yabusele from France.
Wow.
And then France's coach got best coach.
Wow.
On the women's
it's not a French bias at all.
On the women's side, Asia Wilson got MVP, and the first team was Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Frances Gabby Williams, and then a girl from Belgium, Meesman, and then an Australian girl, Alana Smith.
Bless it.
So,
But yeah, I mean, quickly, I mean, if we want to, that U.S. men's game was one of the most exciting basketball games I've watched in a while.
The ending was very exciting.
Jason Tatum played. They gave him charity minutes, but he played.
I was watching it at a bar in like New York City, and the atmosphere was just absolutely like electric. And every time, like, we thought we were going up by a lot, France came back, slowly cut it away, and then Curry just went nuclear. It was unbelievable.
Insane.
It was one. All right, I'll take the shot. Swish. Next one, I'll bring the ball up the court. I'll get a screen. Swish. Next one, I'll pump fake. I'll dribble. I'll cut back. Swish. Then the last one, fuck it.
Over like the three guys in that.
If you look at that play, like, he's going, and on the entire left side, if he switched it, you had KD and LeBron James.
LeBron was wide open.
Like, we're wide open over here, and he's just like, nah, fuck this.
But it was like the last two games, Serbia and against France, like Steph Curry, I think he had like almost 60 points.
He had 36 against Serbia.
And then I think he had 28.
24 in the gold medal. So
24.
he averaged 30 over the last
Yeah.
two with 18 threes, I think.
The only points he scored in the final were threes. He went 8 of 13
Yeah.
from three.
He made 10 threes in the game
Serbia
against Serbia.
game. Yeah, and I mean that game was just absolutely unbelievable. And the former Celtics legend we're talking about now,
Don't get on fucking Braun.
he played an unbelievable game. I swear to God, I thought it was Ben Wallace reincarnated playing for the French national team right there, dude.
I think I
with
said that to you.
the headband and then the giant afro and just the demeanor he played. But I mean, the U.S. is always going to be the U.S., but I also think it shows that like the rest of the world, especially
They're coming.
Europe is
Right there,
definitely
man.
catching up to us. Like Argentina had their golden generation a while ago. Spain will always be there, but like the Eastern European teams and especially France with Wemby, it's definitely going to be interesting in 2028. And do you guys want to do just something fun right now? Predict your starting five for the U.S. in 2028.
Yeah.
2028.
Tyrese.
Yeah.
Ant.
Yeah.
Tatum.
Yeah.
I think AD is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Bam.
Okay.
Hold on, sorry. LeBron.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, Bam. No, I think it'll be Bam.
I was agreeing with you on most of that. I'm going Tyrese Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, or it could be John Morant, Anthony Edwards, Tatum, Paulo Banchero, and then either
Ooh.
Chet Holmgren or I have Bam.
Am I the only one here that's going to say Jalen and Jason?
I was gonna say Jalen Brown, but I like Ja, dude, at the one.
I didn't even think of that.
I would say Ja.
Bro, Paulo can run one too sometimes.
I like Paulo in that
Yeah.
squad.
Ja, Jalen, and Tatum.
I need me to 5. Bam.
Bam.
Also, someone who's going to be on this team most likely.
Cooper Flag.
No, well, I forgot about that.
yeah.
But yeah, he's going to be that. And take Bam out, it's going to be Cooper Flag. Yeah. But honestly, Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
He's
That's
gonna be
true.
he's gonna be good in the next 4 years. So we'll see.
It'll be interesting because there's a lot of really good guards. It's
Yeah.
the big men. Like you see now, there's a lot of overseas big men in the league now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see who that true center would be. Like we said, Bam's getting older.
Hartenstein?
Hartenstein?
Yeah.
Is he U.S.?
I don't
don't
think
think
he's
he's-
US.
Bam's getting older. Anthony Davis is getting older. We won't see Joel Embiid again.
No, Embiid-
so
God, no.
I hope
He's saying Cameroon. I don't know if you guys saw
I
something
did see
about
that.
that.
He said he might go
He's
play
going
for.
back to Cameroon.
Yeah, but
Like, how could you do that?
it'll be interesting to see who that five will become. Obviously, we'll probably have players emerge, like we said, Cooper Flag, and then there's going to be others. Chet Holmgren will be another one.
Zion. We didn't even say.
Zion is just so depressing.
Yeah, I agree.
And
How
what
good he should be.
about Derek White still?
Yeah,
You white baby.
More
Yeah, this
importantly,
might be
Steve
his
Kerr is done, right?
yeah.
God, yeah.
Bring in Joe Mazzulla.
I know.
That's what I was saying. I think I said that yesterday. I
Yeah,
said
you did.
Joe Mazzulla, Joe
Co-
Ball.
couple more things too. Serbia got the bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that? They were absolutely fucking sloshed.
Yeah, because they didn't get their medals for like a few
they
hours
played at like 7:00 our time, which is like 1:00 or something like that Paris time. So they won their bronze medal match, went out and fucking partied their ass off, and then they had to come back to the closing ceremonies after the U.S.-France game was done, and you could see them up there. Jokic was like eyes half closed, and all the boys were just fucking partying like
How about
crazy.
Jokic beat it at the
Racetrack?
horse track?
Less than 10 hours after. Yeah.
Kevin Durant is now the first player to win 4 gold medals in Olympics history.
surpassing Carmelo.
Jason Tatum became the 3rd player to win all NBA, first team an NBA championship and an Olympic gold medal in the same year. Drew Holiday became the 2nd player to win an Olympic gold medal and NBA title in the same summer twice, joining Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
And then I think that was it. The other thing I was going to mention too was not basketball related, but for the women's golf, Lydia Ko, I think, won the gold medal for
from
women's
Japan.
golf. So from
Japan.
so she is representing New Zealand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is very weird. But yeah, and then the the Algerian male boxer
Oh, yeah.
See the
won
lawsuit?
gold.
Hey,
No, it's
they-
a lawsuit.
Huh?
No.
She said she filed a lawsuit for something.
Against the Olympics or
yeah.
something.
well, did you see who she beat, though?
The Chinese
So
helped us.
if she didn't beat
That's
the
true.
Chinese, we would have had come second on the gold medals.
You're right.
Goddamn McEwen.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Random news.
No, you want to let us know what sports will be added?
2024 is over. 2028 Summer Olympics will now be in Los Angeles with some new events going on. Not just breakdancing, guys. We have baseball and softball, flag football, cricket, hence why India.
That's racist.
Lacrosse. No, it's not. It's squash.
What's squash? I'm sorry.
And
It's like
thank God they took out breakdancing out of the 2028.
Squash
That
is like
had
a,
its long
similar to wall
thing.
ball, right?
racquetball.
Racquetball.
Like racquetball. It's like an indoor like.
Is that the one where it
No, that's
No.
Jai.
No,
oh wow, okay.
no. Squash is like you have like the glass screen here, and then it's walls on each side, and you hit it off the walls, and there's points that way.
Can't like let it bounce twice or
Something
something.
to that degree. Yeah,
Interesting.
it was like people. It was like an old timers game. People would play it as like a good workout, like after work or something like that. They go to like a racquetball room or a squash room and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Baseball. Come on.
See,
I don't know if we'll win baseball.
No, we're not.
What?
Dominican Republic.
The DR?
He just came in second at the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, that's. I don't care.
I mean,
What do you mean?
I agree. I agree. There's still like 4 years is a lot of time. Like it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see.
Trout's not going to be there anymore.
But
Flag football,
Trout fucking
that's a
struck out to lose
guaranteed
again.
gold medal, if anything.
I think flag football. It'll be interesting though.
Yeah.
It'll be like I think it'll be similar to like the 3-on-3 type shit. Where like, and if you're the NFL GMs, like the Olympics just ended yesterday. They're already 3 weeks into training camp. Already done week 1 of the preseason. So it's kind of like, are the GMs and the team going to allow them to come? Then again, also, since it being the U.S. as the host, the U.S. gets to pick what events they want to add to the Olympics. So, when again will this happen? We don't know. So maybe that does kind of then take a little bit of a precedent because of the fact that it might not ever be again, or it will only be again when it's back in the U.S. So it'll be interesting as that gets near in the future.
Plus, the MLB has to figure out if they're going to take a break in the season or not.
Yeah, that's a good point
But
too.
I think we just saw how smooth it was for the WNBA.
Yeah. You also got to think about like the stadiums being used. They're going to have to use Anaheim Stadium and Dodger Stadium, unless they want to build a brand new one just for the World Baseball or just for the
They
Olympics.
could also probably use like college fields too.
They could, but
My stepdad made a comment. He's like, I wish they would go back to like having only amateurs to the Olympics. I was like, I would never watch this.
No,
shit.
I wouldn't want to watch it anymore. Imagine if I'm out there playing fucking
Like if
baseball.
if they do baseball and it's no MLB players, I'm not watching a game.
no.
Right? Like
No.
Same thing with men's soccer. I didn't really watch
No,
any of that
I didn't watch
because there was
either.
nobody.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why you watch the women's. The women's
Right.
had their best players. The men's basketball had their best players. And it's like the whole thing about an amateur. These aren't amateur swimmers. These are professional swimmers. These are professional track athletes. So it's just because they play a professional sport in the U.S., it doesn't really make sense. Yeah.
All right, we'll finish up the last segment with a little bit of random news in the sports world. Svi Mikhailuk left the Celtics, signing with the Jazz, 4 years, $15 million. And Barcelona made a signing finally. Danny Olmo from Leipzig, 6 years, 55 million euros.
The only way they could pay him was to make his contract so long because they don't have any money.
Something's making some room for Yabusele.
Am I saying this or
No?
I'll take Yabusele.
Am I saying this or no?
No.
A bleep it.
I'll just.
Why don't you just say that?
No, I'm good.
Enter clip.
Homophobic slur.
All right, so Jaron Duran was suspended for 2 games for calling a heckling fan a homophobic slur. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word.
Even though I
Yeah, I know. It went in one ear, out the other. Anyways, now into the NFL. Multiple teams have contacted the Patriots about trading for Matthew Judon. So we'll see if Judon stays with the Pats. Hassan Reddick has requested a trade from the Jets after being acquired this offseason.
played a game.
Can we talk about this for 30 seconds?
Yeah, go
please?
right ahead.
This is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. The Eagles trade him to the Jets because they're not going to re-sign. They don't want to give him a longer contract. He goes to the Jets. The Jets are like, all right, we'll get a contract done. We'll figure it out. Hasn't showed up to anything for preseason, mandatory minicamp, anything. Yeah. And now, before even getting his uniform on, stepping on the field for anything, he now wants to request another trade. How stupid are the Jets? They gave up a 2nd-round pick, a 5th-round pick for a guy that's now requesting another trade because you don't want to pay him.
Yeah. Why do that? Why trade for him if you're not going to give him a contract?
That's what I'm saying. You don't make that move unless you're going to do that.
Doesn't make sense.
That's the Jets for you.
It literally sums up the Jets to a T. What do you think he was going to play on the 1-year contract? He made it specific, pretty clear to the Eagles. I'm not signing, or I want to be traded. I'm not playing under this 1-year contract. You're going to give me a brand new contract or trade me. They traded him. The Jets knew the same thing.
Did they held one?
And they were like, no, we'll convince him. He'll play for 1 year. Fuck off. That's so bad.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill said he wants to race Noah Lyles and said, in quotes, I will beat him. Now into some devastating news. We have Hollywood Brown, who was rushed to the hospital in Jacksonville after getting a sternoclavicle dislocation in his chest, which is actually not good because it's about right here, and if you dislocate it, it can go into your heart to your...
And he has a PhD.
And Malik Neighbors hurt his ankle. He has a high ankle sprain and is now going to be out a couple of weeks.
Do you guys see... Are you done NFL?
Yes.
You guys see the college football poll came out?
Yeah.
No.
Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Oregon 3, Texas 4, Bama 5, Ole Miss 6, Notre Dame 7, Penn State 8, 9 was Michigan 10 was Florida State.
Nice job,
Pretty
Pat.
good.
Thanks. That's pretty good.
That season starts in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I know.
Week 0, Florida State, Georgia Tech from Dublin, Ireland.
Yep.
That's sick.
Yeah. McAfee show is going down for Friday. They'll do a live
they're
show
doing
in
it?
Dublin.
That's sick.
We should do it. We should go to Dublin.
Yeah.
Do a live show there.
Yeah.
How are we going to do
Go fund me. Go fund us.
To finish the episode, yeah, right. To finish the episode, we have washed up wagers. So here's a recap from the last episode. Pat is now in first place with a 4-2 record after going 2-1 last episode. His wins were the Baltimore Orioles, who beat the Tampa Bay Rays on Saturday 4-1, and the Atlanta Braves, who beat the Colorado Rockies on Saturday 11-8. His loss was the New Orleans Saints, who he took at -3 versus Arizona, and they ended up only winning by 2. I'm in second place with a 3-3 record. After going 1-2 last episode, my win was the Baltimore Ravens to score one or more rushing touchdowns in their preseason game against the Eagles, and they had one. My losses were the Commanders to have one or more passing touchdowns in their preseason game, where they ended up rushing the ball in twice. And then I also took the over of 9 runs in the Athletics versus Tampa against the Toronto Blue Jays game, which ended up really close.
Sweat.
1-0 finally.
Yeah, that over looked real good.
Yeah, Lewis is also tied with me in second place with a 3-3 record. Also, after going 1-2 last episode, his win was USA Women's National Team to win the gold medal against Brazil, and they did. They won 1-0 in soccer. His losses were Victor Wembanyama to have over 1.5 blocks in the gold medal game for France against USA. He ended up having 0, and the Minnesota Twins, who lost to the Cleveland Guardians on Saturday 2-1. Zach is in last place with a 1-5 record.
Hey, first win of the month, though. Let's go.
Hey, am I worried?
No.
I
Lot of ball left.
I started at 1-5 and 1-3 last week.
Lot of
Look who was in
lot of
last
ball
place,
left.
buddy.
Out of ball.
Lot of ball. Lot of ball.
Almost me.
Lot of ball.
His
Oh,
win
no.
was the over of 176 in total points in the USA-France men's basketball game, which ended 98-87. His losses were the U.S. women's water polo team to win bronze medal against the Netherlands, where they lost 11-10 with 0.7 seconds left, and the U.S. women's volleyball team to cover 1.5 sets, where they ended up getting swept by the Italy.
By the Italy.
By the Italy.
The Italians.
No, by the Italy.
It's either by Italy
No,
or
you're
by
dealing
the
with what I had said.
Okay.
I guess we'll let him have it.
All right.
Thank you.
Since Bill doesn't know how to speak, I will talk about the wagers for the rest of this episode.
Zach, did you make yours?
Just sent it.
I will start off. I will take the over 8.5 in the Atlanta Braves versus the San Francisco Giants tonight. Then I will take Ben Shelton minus 225 in the ATP Cincinnati. That's tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Then I also have over 8 runs in the Los Angeles Dodgers versus the Milwaukee Brewers. That'll give me a plus 428 total. $10 will give me 52.84.
Lewis or Bobby?
I'll go. For me, I have for tonight at home against the Cardinals, I have Ellie De La Cruz to record 1+ hits at a minus 175. I have the Pirates tomorrow money line at the Padres at a plus 160. My boy Luis Ortiz actually will be pitching. 5-2 record right now. He's coming for his 6th win of the year. And then for the little MLS soccer, I have FC Cincinnati money line in only regular time at a minus 150. That's all a plus 580. $10 wins you 68.09.
All right. I took the Atlanta Braves money line tonight with Chris Sale pitching against Blake Snell at a minus 105. I took the over of 10 runs scored in the Rangers versus Red Sox game tomorrow night, with it being a minus 118. And I took the LA Dodgers money line tomorrow against the Milwaukee Brewers at a minus 118. It is plus 566, $10 for 66.63.
1-5. Gotta pick my shit up. First, these are all for the Tuesday night MLB slate. We're going to have the Baltimore Orioles money line against the Washington Nationals at Camden Yards, minus 175. We have the Houston Astros at the Tampa Bay Rays money line with Kikuchi on the bump, minus 130. And then we have a little New York Yankees thing here. We have New York Yankees first 5 innings and money line. So they have to be winning after 5, and then they have to win the game against the Chicago White Sox. Minus 145. So pretty good odds there. All those are plus 369, $10 to win $46.97.
Did you see what the line was tonight for the Yankees?
300.
They were like
Was it
minus
300?
320 or
Yeah.
I thought it was
something like
305. I saw.
Something like
Which
that.
for baseball is just insane.
Yeah.
For our rules, that cuts it.
That counts. Yeah, what do we say, 350?
450.
I didn't know if it was.
Close it out, Bill.
Alrighty. Thank you for watching episode 31 of the Wash Up Sports Podcast. We release new episodes on YouTube and Spotify every Tuesday and Friday. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Our usernames for those can be found in the description below. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay washed.